So welcome to the DevTools first session on web development. So in this session, we are going to introduce you all to the basics of how the web works, and we will teach you how to make static web pages with HTML and CSS, and also we'll show you how to use GitHub. So basically, HTML is used for defining what content will be there on the website, and CSS is used for styling it. And we are going to use GitHub for sharing the code, and also we'll show how we use it in our development process. So so first of all, let's see what happens whenever you open maybe your favorite website like Moodle. Like like your from your history, your browser already knows your favorite website, so you don't have to type the URL. Hmm. So when you go to the network, yeah. So first of all, do right click on your browser, go to inspect, and then on the console, go to the network. So let me do it once again. Yeah. So here, as you can see, first of all, your browser made request to this URL, and this URL contained the address of the enter the URL, the domain of the server, and this domain is mapped to this IP address on this port 443. Now this port 443 corresponds to this HTTPS protocol. And you can see our browser first gave all these headers, and in return, the server on which is just a computer on their side returned the status code 303. And the 303 means that from the moodle.it.ac.in, we got redirected to this login/index.php. You can see that here. So now we are finally at this index.php page. Hmm. So we requested this URL. Now that server has accepted our request and gave us this web page. And for that web page, you can see the source code here. And you can also see it like this in here. So basically, this is all HTML, and all the content of the web page is defined by these tags. Like first of all, it defines what is the title of the web page, and after that there are many links. So after getting this data, after getting all this the HTML web page, it starts loading the other web page, other the other links which are associated with it. Like it needs all these files to function properly, and these files are linked here. So you can see all these links. So it first downloads this and downloads all of them. Yeah. The status code 200 indicated that it has accepted the our request and it has successfully given this web page. Okay, wait. Yeah. Let me you have to first right click, go to the network, and then reload. So this status code always tells if the request has been done successfully or not. We are just exploring how a web page is loaded. You can see now this is the header. It contains basically the title, all the other things which are needed for this web page, and then we see the body. So that's why I said don't use Safari, use Chrome. Yeah, so in the body we have the content of the web page. So you can see this ID, and this is just an HTML tag, and all the content is shown like this. So we are going to go deeper into into these tags later. And before that, I'm going to show how where the CSS comes into the picture. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah, so basically you can see the HTML page requested for the CSS file to be inserted, which is shown here. This all.css. Yeah, this is a CSS file, and this shows the how the data is colored and how which fonts are used. So if I just kind of block this file and then reload, and now you can see how the web page would have looked without the CSS. This is just a pure HTML page without the CSS. So I hope you have understood what we are going to talk about in this. Yeah, this is beautiful because this is pure HTML. Yeah, let me repeat. Like we had found that the styling for this web page, like which font it is using, what color it is going to keep, and how it is going to be aligned, that was stored in this all, yeah, this CSS file. This is called the style sheet. And from the network tab, we can see that it was CSS stores the styling of the web page, like which font is going to be used, which color is going to come, and all. And after that, I had just logged that request. Yeah. So if I just remove this, yeah, yeah. If I just remove the CSS file, then you can see the web page without any styling. So this was just a preview of what we are going to talk about. And now I'm going to make a simple HTML page for you. So yeah, I'm going to open VS Code and click on New File. Yeah. Select a language, HTML. Yeah, then just this is just a basic syntax for writing an HTML web page. Yeah, we are learning HTML first. I was just giving the preview of everything. Yeah. So I'm writing HTML. Now this opening HTML tag, as you can see, you have seen in the Moodle web page also, defines that this explains setup of VS Code in macOS. I think you just have to download the DMG file and then yeah, title hello world. I'm writing this HTML now body. This is my first web page. Now I have saved this. I'm going to save this on my desktop as a file name. Yeah, we chose HTML language. So basically now you can see this was, yeah. Now I'm going to go to my desktop where I save this file and see this HTML. Yeah, sorry. Second. Yeah. So this was the web page I had just made in front of you on VS Code. So you can see the HTML tag like before. The header now just defines a heading, which says hello world. And our body, inside the body, we have the content, which is just this is my first web page. So I hope you have understood till now. Yeah, I'm not using the live server because I'm not really a VS Code person. So I'm just using the normal browser to make things simpler. So in HTML, every element is first a tag. Like this body is a tag, title is a tag, and head is also a tag. And inside each tag, we close the tag with this slash. And in between the opening tag and the closing tag, you can write the your other tags and the content of the tag. And you can collapse like this. And to give you a better example, let me also add one more. This is called the anchor tag. You don't need any extensions. Yeah. So this tag is called the anchor tag. And this is used for mainly making links on the web page. Like, and each tag can have attributes. Like this tag has attribute href. This is the reference to the website this has to link to. And usually these attributes define how the web page is going to, how that element is going to act. So it's like when you click on this, yeah, I made a mistake. A is called the anchor tag. So it defines where you can put an anchor for a link. So if I click on this, this is going to take me to google.com. And what comes inside shows the content of the web page. And similarly, we can add more content. Like also you can find a complete reference for the HTML tags on this website, like yeah, HTML elements. So you can get the documentation for each tag. Like I use the A tag. So for the A tag, you can go to this website, Mozilla Developer Network, and see what are the properties available for this. It has this href attribute. Yeah, and this also shows the example for how to use it. And similarly, I can show examples for other tags. And also like maybe say h1 tag is for headings. To go from VS Code to the web page, just yeah, open this. You can see the heading. And similar to the thing, if you want to insert an image, you will use the image tag. Like image is equal to, yeah, let's see, I want the image of IT Delhi website. Yeah, I want to insert this image. So I will first open this image, like open image in new tab. Yeah, let me do that again. Yeah, you see this and you just put the link, open image in new tab. Yeah, you copy the link and then you can just insert the image like this. So now on your web page, the element for that image is inserted. And let's say you want to, let's say I'm making a website for how your life in IT has been till now. So let me make a table for maybe the dates, like usually have usually have like events and calendars. So let us make a table. So first for table, you will use the table tag and create a row. Now TR stands for a table row. And the TH header stands for the table header. You can say maybe the date and TH image Uber date and event. So as you can see now we'll have this table here. Why is the image above? Because see, this is the image. Yeah, let me use BR and it will come on the next. BR is called the line break. So whenever I put BR, the element after it will go on the next line. Yeah, like some tags need to be closed, like this A tag has to be closed, and some tags are open tags. Like BR does not need to be closed, and image also does not need to be closed. Yeah, like this. So now this image has come below. And let me just create a table like BR. What do you want to write about? PD 9 to 12. You had say 9 to 12 till Jan 2021, 22. PD minus. So yeah, you can say from this. So you have a table here. TD stands for the table data. Like the H R first for row, D is for data. Yeah, and maybe let's say on 14th Jan 2022, you have your develop session. And when did you join the college? What was the date? 29 November. Yeah. So basically now we have created a table, and this table has the table body. Inside the body we have, for each row we have this tr tag, and simply you can keep adding rows like this, and for each you have this. And now if I want to add a border here, I will use a border attribute like this. To merge cells, there is, you can always see, like on W3 schools, you can see how W3 is how to merge cells, and you'll get how to, you can the syntax for the merging cell. Yeah. And now if you want to inspect to check the attributes for each element, you can just click on it, see the %0, go to the console, write %0, you will get a reference to that table, to that element, like you can see here. So if you do %0 dot, this shows the properties for that element. Like here we had border, so you get the border property for that element. Or maybe I do dot child, you can get the child for that element. Yeah. Let me, yeah, let me repeat this. If you want to inspect any element like this, you click on it in the console, in the element section. So you get this $0 sign. Yeah. You first inspect element on this. Yeah. You click on that element, you get the $0 sign. And now when you go to the console and you write $0, you will get that element. It's like a reference to that element. So whenever you go to the console at $0 dot, you can access the properties of that element. Like, yeah, it has a property rows. So this table body has these rows, which is interesting. You can see all the properties, and all these are just attributes. Yeah. So whichever element you have selected, that element becomes the $0. Like $0 dot, let me say inner text is one attribute of it. $0 dot child element count. $0 dot children. So select all these four are the children for that element. And let me show this on a more, let's say, modern website like Moodle. Let's do this. Yeah. So here, let me select the body. Yeah, so I have selected the body element. Now, when I do this gives me the body because I have selected body. And when you do dollar person zero dot style, you'll get the style for the CSS. So let's say you want to change a property like this. So you do dot style dot maybe background color equal to. So maybe let's say you don't like the color of this web page and you want to change the color on the front end. Yeah. See, now you have changed the color of the back of the body. And similarly, you can change the color of the. Sorry. So this is the color code in hex. By black only. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. So basically, you have got a cheap alternative for maybe the dark mode for Moodle. So I hope this looks better to you now. Now let me add more things stuff to my website. Yeah. See, so color 222. Let me explain how. Actually, we'll explain it when we teach the CSS. 222 means basically like RGB goes. The R is going here from 0 to. Actually, this hashtag 222 is the same as hashtag 222222. This is just a shorthand. Yeah, E is in hexadecimal. Like here you can see background color 2 corresponds to 34 in hexadecimal. Hmm. Yes, you can actually close this. You can write a extension using JavaScript where you can actually do all this math automatically. Yeah, I will. Pratham will explain the colors later. Yeah, now let me add more stuff to my this little web page I'm making. So this was just about, let's say, uh, timeline so far. So I've added a little heading here, timeline so far. And then I'm going to write like here. Let's see. Let's say we want to write about things to do in IITD. And let me teach you how to make a list. So for list, you have this ordered list tab. So OL stands for ordered list. And even on the VS Code, the best part is that you can always see the documentation for it. The OL element represents a list of items. Yeah. And the LI, let me show this properly. Yeah. This LI element represents a list item. So the list item, let's say make friends. So you have a list and this is the first element of the list and the things to do, make friends. So I hope you are making friends in ITD. I don't think I'm pressing it is coming automatically on VS Code. Like see, I didn't have to press a tab. LI, explore your interests. Yeah. See, so it has already, I had just specified that this is an ordered list and this was a list element. And now it has already given it with the numbers like 1 and 2. So let's say, let me just add one more point. Yeah. Of course, you have to study in IT. So yeah. And you can maybe keep continuing this list. For a bullet list, you just have to maybe write UL and UL stands for unordered list. So when I do this, it becomes a bulleted list that is unordered. So so yeah, like Let me keep it ordered only. I think I like it that way. Let me add one more section like important links. Like you must be having so many links in your college life. Like let's say, let's make a unordered list for it. Like now, let me use the A tag to make a link. Equal to. You can see how VS Code is adding the ending tab for this. It is not always used. I will show where the href is not used. So yeah, I have got this link to Moodle. And now one more thing. There's an yeah. Also one more thing. If you want to select any element on the web page, you can use this option. Like there is this pointer option on your DevTools. You can just see the properties for each element like this. And now you selected this. So this is selected. Now on console, you can go in and see the attributes for this A type. I'm not sure this is going to work. Yeah. This shows the attributes for A type. So one of the attributes I'm interested in is this target. Yeah, target. So basically, if I write target equal to blank, blank, now this is going to open in a new web page. You can see it opened in a new tab. Yeah, there are a lot of attributes, but usually we only deal with a few of them. So by adding this attribute, I have changed how this is going to behave. So this opened in a new tab. And similarly, let me change it here also. Target. Yeah, let me make another link for let's say your webmail.io. For target, the other options you can see from here only, like attributes, target. Yeah, see self. This is the default, like it is opening in the same tab. The blank opens in a new tab. Parent is actually this happens when you're using the frames top. For learning HTML, this Mozilla developer website is the best. Hmm. Let me reload this once again. I can click on this. Okay, what is this? Yeah, so I think you have understood the lists, how to create a list. In each list, you have this list item, and in the list item, you can write anything. And also, you might want to have some comments sometimes, like let's say this is a comment. So when you write something like this, someone seeing the code can see this, but someone on the web page cannot see. So like you can also write here like to do no to the developer. Please add more interesting stuff. So when you add a comment like this, the developer or the person who is reading the code can see this to understand better. But this is not going to work to show on your web page. And sometimes you can maybe use this as a quick fix to maybe change things. Like if you're having minors, you don't want to study. So, and also there's a shortcut on on VS Code. You press Command, sorry, or maybe on if you're on Windows, you press Control and this slash icon. Then it will commit it already. So I have committed. This is called commenting out that element. So I have commented out this study. So now, if when I reload, this study will go away. So see, now you don't have to study. Let me also show you how to use this way to get images or things out of websites. Like you visit a website. Now let's say I want this image which is behind. For Mac, you have to use command and dash, this backslash. You go to network, you hit reload. And on this network tab, you can use these options to select which kind of element you want. Let's say I want to see the images which were loaded with this web page. So I click on IMG. So I can see so many images. Like if I want the, let me do how. Yeah, yeah. This time I'm doing a hard reload, and you can see this is taking so much time. The waterfall here represents at what time are these reloading. Like this image has reloaded this much from this time to that time. And so from here you can see if I do like this shows the timeline in which that thing was downloaded. I'm going to show how why is this taking so much time. This is taking too much time. Let me take an example for some other website. Let's say devclub.io. So you can see this loaded very quickly, and that is because all these heavy files, these images, were already cached in my memory. So next time I hit reload, the browser is not going to make a request to that web page. It's not going to download it at another time. It has already saved it in your cache, and then whenever I open that page, rather than downloading it from internet, it is going to get that image or that thing from your disk. As you can see, like this memory cache. This is why it is reloaded very quickly, and this is why it is not showing any size. So But but there is this shortcut. This is called command or control plus shift plus R. Like for yeah, usually the browser always caches all the static things like sta this static JavaScript or this static CSS files. They're the static images. It always caches them, so you don't have to reload them every time you reload the web page. So for normal reloading, the shortcut is control plus R, right? Or command plus R on Mac. For for clearing the cache while reloading, you have to use command plus shift plus R. So when I do command plus shift plus R, yeah, command plus shift plus R, this is not going to use the cache. This is now actually downloading each of the elements one by one. And you can see this is taking so much time. Like yeah. And here you can see the statuses for the web page. Like it has transferred this much. It has transferred these many assets, used this many sources, and took the 17 seconds to load. Now, if without now using the cache, if I reload, yeah, like this. So even though the resources were almost 3 MB, like 2.7 MB, it had to transfer only so less bytes because everything else was cached. So the loading time was only 1 second. So this is why modern websites work very fast, even though they look very bulky. Like you can see there are so many images here, but still when you open it, it opens very quickly. But this is also bad because sometimes you don't want to visit the website again, but still the cache is stored in your memory. So it always takes space on your disk. So sometimes you want to clear the cache. Yeah. Also, let me show this page. This is a website. Like these are so many things. So if you want to see how any of these things work, just use this inspect, this arrow key, and then you can click on everything. Like see, this is this element, this is that element. Yeah. And also I think many of you had talked about how you used to use this HTML for inspecting for deleting something, then you can use here also. Like if I don't like, let me use this. If I delete here, it is going to go away. Like if I and say delete element, it's going to go away from here. So this is how you can maybe modify the web page live. Yeah. And as you see cookies. Yeah. So whenever you visit any website, you must have heard this term. We are storing cookies on your web page, or this web page uses cookies. So what cookies are basically value pairs. So it's like the web page is storing some value on your machine. So rather than storing on its own server. Like yeah. So yeah. So you can see Moodle ID. So the Moodle ID cookie is remembering your username whenever you click remember username. And to see what cookies are being used, you can go to application, like inspect element, go to application, and go to cookies on that website. So I can see my web page is using these cookies. Like this is the cookies basically you can think of as a variable, like or maybe let's better say a constant. Like on in programming languages, you must have used many variables and constants. So cookie is just another constant which it is storing on your browser. So it has stored this value for this variable, and you can see when this expires. Yeah, like this is the domain which the cookie came from. This was the path, and this is the expiry time. So basically, once you have logged in, it is going to expire and log you out after that much time. Let me show you this. Yeah, see this is the max age of that cookie. So after that time, it automatically deletes that cookie from your website, from your web browser. See, this says 8:55. So let me just log in once. Yeah, so I have got this thing, and it says I'm logged in till actually this time is in some other format, so I can't really say. But usually you can edit this, and this similar concept is used in. Yes, you can change the expiry time for the cookie. Like on Roundcube, if you can see the webmail also uses many cookies like this. Like yeah, like see the web page has stored that your language preferred language is English. You can see the name for the value for the language variable is English, and there are many other variables like this. So most of the stuff is used internally by them, but you can always see and try to figure out how they are working. Yeah, deleting the cookie will log you out. So let's talk. So yeah, so let's go back to our web page. Yeah, I think I was going to yeah do this. I was going to show you how to insert this, get a image from the website, right? So, what do I want? See, by inspect element, you can see the images used on the resources used by that web page. You can see which images this ITT website is using or which images this has loaded. So on some of you must know this is the lecture hall complex of IIT Delhi. See, this is the image for the LHC. So I'm just going to insert it in my website in things to do in IIT. IMG SRC equal to this. And then so as you can see, I've got this image here. See, I've got the image on my web page, and now my web page is making request to that thing. Yeah. And what is interesting is that if you have the same resource, but you're requesting it from different pages, then also the cache usually works. Yeah. So as you can see, this is very wide for this web page, right? Like my web page is like this, but image is so big. So I'm going to set a size for this image by just writing width equal to 50%. So this is going to take the 50% of the page size. Yeah. So this fits nicely. And also you can see now I have to scroll down to get to this point. So I can always make an internal link. Let's see, a name equal to, let me say a name equal to import. Yeah, yeah. And also let me write here a name equal to things. So what I have done is I have created an anchor with name equal to imp. So so I can, let me show you first this thing. So whenever I write slash hash imp, this is going to take me to this point. And also let me show you that on my, yeah, like you must have seen this web page. This. So here I have this internal link. This is going to take you to this. So this is how internal links work in a web page. And these help in navigation a lot. So let me make a nav bar on my web page. Hashtag. Yeah. So basically, the diff is like a blank element. It has no properties of its own. It just acts as the container. So you can always see you can set the ID like this, equal to nav bar. So now I can always call this element and make changes to the children. I've got this nav bar here. Yeah. So let's say you all want to leave the session and I want to share the code with you. Right now the code is in my VS Code, and to share this I may have to send you by email, or maybe send it on Discord, or maybe send it on the, I don't think I can send on the chat. But for sharing the code, I'm going to use a better way, which is GitHub. So GitHub basically allows me to create repositories, like, yeah, repositories. And these, you can think of a repository as a folder. And in this folder, you are saving your codes and all. And you can either make your folder public or private. Like I have these many projects, and for each project, I have created a repository, and a repository will make easier for sharing code. So for now, I'm going to create this repository with new, create a new repository name, let me say hello world. I'm making it public so you all can see, and I'm going to just create, this is simple. Yeah. So I'm going to upload the file I had made to this folder. So index.html. Yep. So now, so committing is like when you make a change, you're making it final to the folder. So it is stored on the cloud. So make commit changes, and then it's pushed. So right now, if you go to this URL, I will recommend just go here, github.com/as1605/hello world. You can see this my you can see my code here. And when you call index.html, you can see all the code I wrote in this session. So you don't have to take any notes and all, you can just see the code here. Yeah. Yeah. Take some time to actually visit this web page. Because I have uploaded it on the internet. So can you see this web page now? Can you see the GitHub link now? Pratham, please share in the chat. Should I share? Pratham, please. Yeah. Yeah, you can use this and download the code file from here. Like you can just click on download zip, and these are some other ways for getting the file. You will share the link on the Discord later. For joining the Dev Club group, you need to become a member of Dev Club. Yeah. So can you see this repository? Yeah. So now, one thing very cool about GitHub is that you can actually host the HTML pages on using it. Like usually when I was, where is this? When I was showing here, this web page was running on my local machine. Like this path was on my machine, like this file users. If you enter this part, you won't be able to open this web page because this is on my local machine. So for hosting this, you need a web server. So what GitHub does it provides you such a web server for free. So like for hosting, you go to settings, pages, then choose a theme. No, sorry, pages, main, and root. So now you have gotten to GitHub pages. Click on save. Hmm. So now this is going to process your web page a bit. Like it is going to. Yeah, it is showing here pending. It is being deployed. So once it is deployed, you will be able to see the web page on GitHub. Yeah, see. So now you all can access the web page which I had made like this. So try to open this link. Pratham, please put this in the chat. Yeah. I hope you have got the link in the chat. You can just type this URL. It's small, right? as1605.github.io/hello world. And one of the advantages of using index.html is that it your index.html web file is always mapped to your normal dash. So if I had written some other name like name.html, I would have to write the path explicitly, like the file name. Like ideally, I should have to write the index.html. But this is allowing me to just write dash and already rewrite to index. This is the default. Yeah. So everyone can see this website now. But as you know, this website does not look very good and the design is not very nice. And I might have showed that my design is not very good. But I have a friend Pratham, and he's going to he's going to collaborate on this same repository, and he's going to edit on this same file. So Pratham is going to fork this and then do. So it now I'm going to make Pratham the presenter.
Yeah. Hello guys. So till now Aditya has made a page Hello World on the Git on HTML and he has hosted it on GitHub pages. But as you see, the page is not so good looking. It's very basic. So let's see what we can do to make it look more presentable. So let me share my screen. Yes. So as you can see, this is the website currently, and this is just a very bare bones. There's just text and images written and no presentation here. So what I'll do is as Aditya said, GitHub allows us to collaborate on our projects so that we can work together. Aditya is currently in Delhi and I am in Jharkhand. So this is one way by which we can work together on this project. So what I will do here is first, there is a fork option in the top right there. So I will fork this repository. So making a fork, what does it do is that it creates a copy of the repository in my account. So you can see here that in the top right, now it is written there, Pratham T slash hello world. So Pratham T is my account. So slash hello world and forked from AS1605 slash hello world. So now this repository is in my account and this is in some way linked to the original because it is a fork of that. So fork is basically you are copying it into your own account, your own machine kind of, and then you can make changes to it so that when you will make changes, it will not affect the files in the Aditya's repository. So first thing I will do is I will download the files as a zip here. And we will cover more of the Git and GitHub in next session. So that will allow us to work more seamlessly, more smoothly with these tools. So currently this is very crude way of downloading zip and uploading files. So just don't take this as a like we are doing it, so it is a good way. So I'm in my VS Code here, and as you can see, I now have all the code which Aditya has written for the website. So this is all the HTML code. I just downloaded the zip file. I've extracted it. So it is in a folder. So that zip file just contains index.html. So now we'll come to the CSS part. So what CSS is? CSS stands for cascading style sheets. So I will just make a index.css here. So cascading style sheets is a style sheet language. So what is a style sheet language is? It HTML helps us to define the structure of the document, the content, the what is the text, their images there. But it to make the content presentable, we use CSS. So a style sheet language defines the presentation of the structured documents, in which case this is HTML document here. So presentation includes everything from size of various elements like text, images, color, text. In case of text, you have font, font style, font size, then bold italics, etc. Then layout of different elements, how they are positioned in the page, etc. All are defined in using CSS. So this all this why we are using CSS? It's because developing separately the HTML and CSS part helps us to separate the two different aspects here. CSS is only for presentation part. So in any HTML file, if you have to make any changes to the data, you don't necessarily need to change the style, the font, etc. And if you want to change any presentation aspect, you have to change the color or something. You don't need to interact with these data. So using separate HTML and CSS helps us to like do the development separately, and it is a very modular way to develop things. We have separated two different aspects here. So how to use CSS? There are actually different ways to include CSS in a HTML file. So I have already created here a index.css file, but let's not do that first. So there is one way, sorry, using a tag called a style tag. Type is text/CSS. So this is one of the way of declaring CSS. So what you can do is create a style tag in the HTML document only, and then inside this style tag you define all the CSS code, all the styling scripts, etc., which will then make this page, the layout of this page, the presentation, etc., different. But then again, this is becomes a part of the HTML file. So this does not very modular, but this is at least better than the old HTML standard, which defined all the stylings in the HTML tag attributes only. The second way is we have created another file, index.css. And by the way, you do not necessarily need to have the same file name. So it's like I can rename this to something like
Style.css.
style.css and just keep it. The way to how does the HTML page will know what CSS file is required for this? What CSS file gives the styles, give the design to this page? So that is achieved using a link tag. So a link tag, as you can see the MDN reference here, the link tag allows to link some other document to this HTML page. So using this link tag, so rel is just what kind of relation this is. So this is not a mandatory tag. So I shouldn't have written rel first. So href attribute gives the path or URL to the CSS file, or any file can be written here. So I'm using the CSS file. So I will give the path to the CSS file here. So you can use relative paths. So since they are in same folder, relative paths will work here. And this is an empty tag. So this will now link this style.css file to this HTML document. Now let me open the web page in my local machine, not the one which is hosted. Yeah, so as you can see, this is the current web page. And all the things here, all the elements are just in, they are from one end to other end. Since there nothing is stretching, so they are all at the very corner. So first thing we will do is let's just yeah, so let's just give some margins here. So this is every as Aditya explained, all the content which is visible on the web page is defined in the body tag. So to write, to give styles to give some instruction to how to display this particular element, how will this be displayed? The first thing is ki how will the browser know ki what design I am giving here. It is targeted to which element. For example, as I said ki ye pura content, all this is inside the body tag. But how will the browser know ki the CSS defined here is intended for body tag? So for that, there are different kinds of CSS selectors. So this is something called a selector. Followed by a curly brace. This body is the selector now, and it will that all the files to define this curly brace is intended for the body tag. So first, let's do some margin here. Margin. Let's do it 40 pixels and auto. So I'll explain what I'm writing here, and let us reload this page. So this just went to the more left way. So I will give another attribute here, max width, and I'm setting it to 650 pixels. Now you see that there is a gap between the left end of my screen to the where the content starts. So I'll show it here. So I defined margin. So how CSS works is, inside this curly braces, there is a pair of property and the value. So the left term is a property. So I'm defining a property margin, and in the separated by a colon, I'm writing the value here. So as I wrote margin, so margin property actually accepts either 1, 2, or 4 values. So A, B, C, D. So in its syntax, it accepts 4 values. So the values are top margin, bottom margin, right margin, and left margin. If I ignore one of them, it will automatically take the value of the other. So for example, if I ignore the bottom margin, it will take the value of top margin and bottom margin as same. If I ignore right margin, it will take the value of left and right margin as same. If I provide only one value, it will give the same value to all the 4 margins: top, right, left, bottom. So top, bottom, left, right. So by writing here 40 pixels, and what I'm doing is I'm giving the value of 40 pixels to top and bottom, and auto is a word which sets margins automatically based on the length of the elements in the tag. So left and right, I'm setting it to auto. So by setting it to auto, it will automatically initially without this without this property, control K C. So without this, it's I have given for the first value is for top and bottom margin. So for there is a gap of 40 pixels at the top bottom, but there is it is auto for the second value. So what this is doing, that it is stretching all the content from left to right. So with now this property now sets a maximum width of the content. So all my content is now restricted between 650 pixels of my screen size. So I will come to this pixel and everything in a little while. So now if I reload this, so all the content is now between two invisible lines, margins, which is a 650 pixels wide. So if I inspect it, so you can see here, so the body, the part which is in the blue color, that is only 650 pixels wide, and by max width property, I have set that to be 650 pixels. Now let's do another thing. So dark mode is in craze. Aditya showed dark there. So I will change the background color for a very sasta dark mode. So let's see another selector here. So I want to do a setting to the complete page, so everything in that. So there is a selector called a asterisk or star, whatever we prefer. So this asterisk refers to the every element in the HTML document. So all the properties which I define inside this asterisk curly braces, it will be applied to all the in this HTML page. So let's set a background color. The background color, as I promised, I will explain these color codes here. And in the dark background, the text should be light. You can see background is dark, the text is light now. Now just see what the color code stands for. So you see the color here is I have written #222. Okay, so in most of the applications in development, the colors are defined using a hexadecimal uh, code. So a hexadecimal code is a 6-digit code. So I think this will be a better example. Most of you have heard of many Easter eggs. So this is one of the Easter egg in Google. So you see there is a, if you type color picker, so Google will show a color picker here. So it will help you to select colors. So how the colors are defined in computer, it is using everything in computers is defined ultimately using numbers, binary, etc. And how the colors are defined, it is a pair of a tuple of 3 values, red, green, and blue. So in systems, there is a value in base 10. So in decimal number, so if I set every value here to 0, 0, 0, so this will be completely black. So and it goes till 255. So 255, 255, 255. So it is completely white. So this spectrum of color defined using 3 values. The first to red, the second, the last value is the amount of blue color. So this integer representation helps you to know understand it better. But for computers, more easier will be any base 2 or its multiple. Since computers understand only binary, so let's just go to a random color here. So you see its RGB value here is 9, 235, 81. So as you expect, this is mostly green, and the second number is very large, and second number refers to green. So the amount of green is very large, and you can see it is primarily green with some amount of blue and negligible red. Red is almost 0 here. So this in RGB, this is the color value here. So in hexadecimal, it is exactly the same thing. So it is a hexadecimal code is a 6-digit number in base 16. That is hexadecimal. So in base 16, the first two numbers, the first two digits refer to the value of red R. The next two numbers refer to the value of G, green, and the last two numbers refer to the value of blue. And hexadecimal is a base 16. So a 2-digit hexadecimal number, you can do the maths. It goes to maximum of 255 in base 10. From 0 to 255, that will be the range. So the both are referring to the same value in different a number system. So this is a base 16 number system, and this is a base 10 number system. There are other systems also used for color, CMYK, HSV, HSL. So we'll not go into that. Since hexadecimal is the primary way of you defining colors in most of the programming languages and other programming or scripting languages. HTML and CSS are not programming languages, to be clear. So I guess this should be clear about the hex codes, since many of you were having confusion what the codes are. So if you know the hex code of any number, you can, any color, you can generate that color. So it's not necessarily that you need to remember these. No one remembers these hex codes. So if I want a light blue color, so I will set the value of red to be very low. We'll set the value of green to be moderate or less only, and I will set the blue to be a bit higher, and you get a kind of blue. So this is just based on my intuition. I set some values for red, green, and blue. I've set value of blue to be a higher number, since so that I can get a primarily a blue tint here, blue color here. But you do not need to remember these. No one remembers these. Okay, so let's just take a color here. So I don't think we will need colors right now, but we will come to that later. And then next thing here, what we can do is, this page is still very bland. So what we should try, let's just change the font here. So there is a very good site, Google, which is called Google Fonts. This is fonts.google.com. And this helps us, this site is a repository of a lots of fonts which are openly available. Anyone can use these fonts. So let's just select any one font. So let us select Open Sans. So this is the font. It shows the font here. So how will you include this font in your HTML page? So if this is not a basic font, you need to include a link to the font here. So let's just select this style, regular. And it shows you here the options here. How can you embed this font in your HTML code? So there are two options: @import and link. So you're just now, I have explained what is link, and you are familiar with what link is. So using link tag, you can just copy this complete thing and paste it into your HTML file just after this style sheet maybe. And in the CSS, it explains you here that you have to include the value of open sun in the attribute font family. So let's just include this line. So by the way, you can use multiple values here. So in case, let's just take any text. So let's take a most hated font here, Comic Sans. So never use Comic Sans. So let's just, I'm not linking this currently. Okay, so let me just comment. And now I've included this font family, Open Sans, Comic Sans, Sans Serif. So what this will do is, it will check for each font And if that font is available, it will use that font to render that web page in that font. And I have included this in the asterisk selector. So it will this font is applied to all the everything in your page. So since Open Sans is not a commonly included font in any browser or any PC Mac, so this may not be available in if you load the page, and if I have not included this style sheet from Google Fonts, this link API from Google Font, so it will go to the next value, and it will now this font is generally available on most of the computers, so it will render it in this font. So just sorry, this one, close this and have a reload. So you see this is all in the Comic Sans. So now if I just uncomment this now and again reload it. So now this is in the Open Sans font, which I have taken from the Google Fonts page. Just not just even use this Comic Sans. Yes, one more thing I forgot. This is a shorthand notation, #222. So I just written 3 digits, so it will expand it to 22 for red. Then second 2 it will expand to 22 for green, and third 2 it will expand to blue for. So it will expand it as 222222. So it will expand this as 222222 automatically. So this page is still not that good. So first thing, we all know that links appear in some other color. So let us just give another color to links. So we have an a tag here, and the color property we will just set to some light shade of blue. So let's see how this one looks. So you see the links now appear in a different color. We can change this color. So this is a predefined color in VS Code gives me. You can use any other color like so VS Code also has a color picker. So this is one of the benefits which I get. Just make it a bit deeper. Yeah. Yeah. So I can set any color for my links. One more interesting thing what I can do is let's just set the colors of Moodle and Webmail to their colors. Let me just open Moodle. Yeah, so see the Moodle logo is in this color. So I want this color to be my links color as well. So what I can do is inspect in the styles. Yes, so you can see the color they have used here in this for this font. If I just inspect it, so this color is shown here. So you can directly copy this hex code, or there is another thing here. So if you just hover over this colored box, so there is a color picker also. So you can see this color picker. and you can pick up this logo's color here, or I can take any color and it will change the color of these announcements here. Yeah, you see the announcement is not visible now, so now it is in blue. So yeah, now again back to its own color. This color picker is also handy if you want to see what color is something. So just pick the color of the Moodle logo, which is F9 8012, and with this we have come to another thing. So using A, I have colored all the anchor tags, all the links to this color. So what this did is now all the links in my page are of this same color only. So how can I just change this color of this specific link to another color? So this is solved, not specifically this problem, but there is a concept in HTML of classes and ID. So you can define ID for any element, like here it is defined as navbar for this div element, and there is another thing called class. So for this Moodle link, let me just define a class. Class is equal to Moodle. So you can use either single or double inverted commas. So let's just maintain a same standard. And for this, let us just class equal to webmail. So these are two concepts of class and ID. So these two things are used to refer to some particular element in a HTML DOM, HTML page. So the difference between two is ID is like a unique ID. So if you have a ID card of your school, or you will get your identity ID card in future, you will have a unique ID. No two people will have the same ID card, right? So similarly, the ID of any particular element is unique. So if I have given ID navbar to this div tag, so I cannot just go on and give the ID of navbar to this h1 also, or to any other div tag. So if I have defined any other div tag here, so just let's define div to across this. This is my first web page. So if I want to define the ID here, and I will give the ID as navbar to this also, so this will not work. This will not throw any error in HTML, but what will happen is that if I refer to navbar anywhere in my code, in this CSS or in JavaScript, if we will do JavaScript future, it will just refer to the first element which comes with the ID navbar. It will not detect even this one, and this is because ID is supposed to be unique. So I cannot give the ID of navbar to two elements. So I'll just give a header text to this one, maybe any ID. So the concept of class is something that class is something, a group of objects which will share some common properties. So I given a class name of Moodle to this, so I can give a class name to any other object as well. So if I give a class, so if I give a class name to this also as Moodle, so this is extremely correct. This is absolutely correct. So if I refer to Moodle anywhere, class is equal to Moodle. So it will detect both of them. It will detect this as well as this. So a class, same class name can be given to multiple tags, and also a single tag can be given both a class name and a ID as well. And you can refer to it using both, using either of them. Let's just remove this. And another thing is an object, an element can have multiple classes assigned to it. So it can have multiple classes. So if I just give any other class, if I give webmail to this as well, so this is also correct. It can have multiple classes. So class names are separated by spaces. So Moodle is one class and webmail is another class. So if I refer to as webmail somewhere, it will look up the document, it will look up the DOM and it will get these two A tags since both of them have webmail as a class name. If I search for Moodle, if I refer to Moodle somewhere, it will only get this A tag. And multiple class names are absolutely allowed in HTML. That is, a single element can have multiple classes, and a single class name can be used multiple places. So both of them are absolutely fine with classes. Let us go to, now we have given a class name to here. So this brings us to the next HTML selector. So we have seen we are referring to elements here using the tag names. So how will we refer to some specific class only? So this is achieved using a selector dot. So dot Moodle will refer to all the elements which have a class named Moodle. So if I hover this, it will showing it here. Element class is equal to Moodle. So whatever property I set here will be set for all the elements with the class name Moodle. So if I set color and I paste the hex code I copied from the Moodle's website. So you can see the color of the link changed here. So let us do the same. So I should close this one. The webmail as well. So webmail is taking time to load. Okay, so till then, let me find some other properties to this body as well. So I'm setting a property called line height here to 1.6. 1.6 is without any units, the relative number. And we have used headers here. So let us see, use headers here, H1, H3. We've used two of them. So there are 6 header tags in HTML. So they are numbered as H1, H2 till H6. So this is in the decreasing order of size. H1 is the largest, H6 is the simplest, and this H tag is used to refer to headings. So you see headings here is larger than the normal text here. Makes sense. This is H1 and things to do in RTD and timeline so far, these are in H3. So you see the difference in the sizes here. So this is another thing in CSS. You can club multiple selectors. So I have some same properties. So line height, I am setting 1.2 for these. I hope the webmail has loaded. No, it has not. If it won't load, I will just give it a random red color shade. Just giving problem or internet giving problem. Yeah. That server. So let's just continue. This site won't open like this. So let me give random red colors to the mail. And so I have Moodle and webmail in different colors here. And this line height I have added, so you can see the difference here from the DOM inspector. So if I disable this line height, you can see the difference it creates. So this is the difference. So line height increases the spacing between the two lines. Then I have used margin already here. I wanted to also use padding here. Padding of 10 pixels and 20 pixels maybe. Sorry, no comma. This won't be much visible, the padding currently, but I'll explain this thing right now. So I guess whiteboard should be better medium. Yeah. So if you have any element in your HTML DOM, so let's just take this size as LE to B. So this is the basic size of the element. Now there are three things here: margin, padding, and border. And these three are completely separate things. So let me just start with padding first. So what padding is? Padding defines the space between the content and the outer boundary of this element. So let's just take it. This is a paragraph in a HTML paragraph tag, and the text within it is written somewhere here. The padding, what padding is? Padding is this space between the content inside this tag and the very edge of this. By default, the padding is 0. So if I define a padding of 10 pixels on each side, so what will this do is now this is so now all the content will fit inside this part completely. This is the initial L into V, L into B. And if I give a padding of 10 pixels on each side, so this width now is of 10 pixels, and initial our element, let's just say this is a div tag. So it can be any HTML element. So this is now the outer boundary of our div. And this is not the border. Okay, so this increase the size of the to accommodate this extra space which we needed between the content and the boundary of the div. We come to what is border. So border, most of you have used this word from since childhood. So border is nothing but a boundary outside the your element. So if you give a border, so this if I give a border of 5 pixel, so this is now the a space of 5 pixels, and this is a border between the element. It is the border outside the element. So now let's just say कि this was initially our HTML page. So this is the left web page and this is the top. And we come to margin here. So what margin is? Margin defines the space between the element and the edge of your screen or the page. Okay, so this is margin 0. If I give a margin of some value, so this let's just say this is again the boundaries of the page here. So this is the top and this is the left. And if I have given some margin now, so this element will shift itself. It will not increase in size, but it will shift itself to accommodate that space. So this is a space of now whatever value I give to the margin, and this is the complete element with all the things which we have defined here. For defining lengths, there are several units used in ML. I use this MDN page. So there are basically two types, two ways you can define the length. One is absolute unit, that is a centimeter, millimeter, point, pixels are most common, and inch as well. So this is basically the centimeter, millimeter, inch. Points and pixels are specifically used in computers. So a pixel is the 1/96th of an inch and 1/72 of an inch. So these are absolute units. If you define some border as let's say 10 pixels as I have defined, so it will be 40 pixels in all the screens. So let's just say this website which I made looks good with 40 pixels of border on this laptop. But if I open this on my mobile, the screen is already small. So that may be not such a good look on mobile. There is another kind of relative units. So the common are EM, REM, and the others are also used DHH. So these are the lengths which are relative to some other thing, like the screen width or the of the parent element. EM, EM unit, if you define something in EM, it is relative to the size of the parent. The parent is of some size, and if I define it some child as a 2 EM, so it will be the twice of that parent. And REM is the related root of the document. The root of the document is the first tag which you write, and related to that, this size defines this that element.
Pratham, I think you freeze the screen.
Margin padding, just make these images a bit better. So both of these I guess are defined is in IMG without any so yeah. So this here in the second image the width is 50 is defined in style only, but you can also define it using the selector.
Pratham,
So
reshare the
I would
screen.
not yeah
Reshare the
uh,
screen.
yeah yeah yeah.
Also, I think the web page looks nice now, so Pratham can just upload those files on his fork of the repo and then create a pull request on my
Yeah.
repository.
Yeah, so I'll just go on to that. So let's just complete this thing. So image, for
In fact, I
image
can
you
make the
can,
changes while merging also.
yes, I guess images are just fine.
Mm-hmm.
I just
So
have
just
to
upload it.
wanted to show the border radius. Let's, yeah, 10%. This gives a border to this image. The corners become rounded.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So let's just upload this on the GitHub. So this my file is here. And this is my repo. This is not Aditya's repo. So I will upload this file from there. So this is add file and upload file. In that there is upload file. So let me just paste the file here. So I made changes to this file style. So keep in mind I'm only uploading the CSS file here. So this will just
It's
upload the
HTML to
CSS
content.
file, but it will not make any changes to the HTML file already. But if you remember, I have made some changes to my HTML file as well. Okay, so if I just upload the HTML file also now, upload files. Yeah, so I added the HTML file here. So what we want is it should replace the original application. It should make changes to HTML file. Yes. So you can see here, it is the new file. It just updated the original HTML. You can see my message here, added classes and now what I will do is, since Aditya has hosted this in GitHub pages on his account, I will create a pull request to his, sorry, I could not open this. I'll create a pull request to his GitHub account. So what that will do is, I'm sending a request to him to make these changes to the files in his repository as well, so that can be reflected on the GitHub pages which he has posted. So there's a good option here. If I make changes, so you can see this branch is ahead of AS1605. So since I made two commits, I've made changes 2 times, so it is 2 commits. So you can set here the repository in which you want to make the commit. So I'm making it from my repository, pratham.t/hello world, in the main branch to Aditya's repository and create pull request. So I'll just add CSS here and create pull request. Now I have added these to as a pull request. Now Aditya will show you the changes which now are in the pages hosted in the GitHub
Okay,
pages.
so now I'm back at my repository. I have got this notification that Pratham has added CSS and he wants to merge this.
Aditya, your
So on
screen isn't visible.
okay, wait. Yeah. Yeah. So basically now I've got this notification that Pratham has made a pull request on my repository. So I go to pull requests and I see his pull request and I'm just going to merge this. Thanks for I can write a comment on the pull request and then I'm going to merge this. So as you see now, the file has been changed on my original repository. And after this commit, it is going to build the web page again. Yes, you can see the commit. Yeah. You can see that now it is going to build the site again. Here. Building the site actually takes a little time. But basically when it is done on this website, I'm going to see his CSS. Let me wait for one more second. Yeah, see it is pending now. So it is basically processing the changes Pratham has made and it is going to build it. Yeah, now it is deployed. Now when I reload, I see these changes on my website. So basically, with the help of GitHub, Pratham has been able to contribute to my code with his skills. Now let me, okay, now I'm going to talk about the recruitment assignment. So yeah, so this is the recruitment assignment. Okay, so basically fork means that you are creating a copy of that repo to your account. It's basically fork is a virtual thing. It's like you're making a copy on your account. Like let me go to my other forks. Like I had created this repo slash what was it? Hello, it was. Yeah. I created a repo. So as you can see here, all these people had created a version of my repository on their account. But when you're cloning, you're actually making an offline copy. Yeah. When you're cloning, that is like creating an offline copy of that file on your machine. So it's like first you should fork and create a copy on your account. And then from your account, you should create a copy on your machine. Yeah. So let us talk about the assignment. So we have talked about HTML, CSS, and GitHub in our first session. So you're going to use them to create a web page by yourself. So our task is to create a COVID guide. Like there are many information, so you have to create a compilation of that. And these are the details. We have created a prototype for the website. You can see that here. And Asmita has created the prototype using Figma, and it allows you to create very beautiful designs very quickly. As you can see this. So basically, we want you to make this design as a part of your assignment on HTML and CSS. And you can see this is like the navbar with the links, and this is going to be images. And here you will have to make a table and here a list. And here you will have to embed a YouTube video. And to embed a YouTube video, you just go to YouTube, click on share, and then copy the embed properties. Yeah. For submitting this is very important. You have created your GitHub account. You have to fork this repository click the fork icon here, and then you have to write the code in your own repository. Like Pratham wrote the code in his own repository, and he has to edit this index.html file and all, and yeah, and also add the CSS and images. And after that, you have to host the fork also on GitHub pages. Like Pratham did not host it on his fork. You have to host your own GitHub pages. And do not create a pull request on this repository. And after that, you have to fill this Google form. Like you have to write your email, name, Kerberos, GitHub, and your link, along with your feedback for the session. So as you can see, this repository is private for now. If you try to open this link, it is not going to open. But now I'm going to make it public so all of you can see this and start forking it. Make public. I'm going to write the repository name. A B C D 1 2 3 4. Yes. Now everyone please go to this repository and read the instructions. How much time? Try to do it in 1 week. And we will also be giving you more resources to learn about HTML, CSS, and in and web in general. And you can also ask any questions if you have. Try to make your design as close as you can to this Figma web page because you see it looks very beautiful. But even if you can't make everything like this, at least try to get the color schemes properly and also use these images. So even if your skills are not that good, your web page is going to look very nice. So do you have any questions for this assignment? Yeah, you can write same stuff and also you can think of more ideas. Like you can add tips on your own, like more tips. Yeah, I'm asking you to fork the assignment because yeah, first you have to fork it, then you have to clone it. Try to make an exact copy, but you can also make a slight difference if you can't make it exactly.
Aditya, should I
Also, one
go
more
through
cool
the
thing about forking is
Figma?
that you can see everyone who has forked. Like say go to insights and fork, and now you can see all your fellow students. So this way you can also see who others in your community are doing programming. I mean, doing this development work. So you can see everyone's work like this. So it will help you socialize also. To connect with me on GitHub, always first fork this repo, and also you can follow me. And also we always welcome more ideas. So rather than making an exact copy, it would be better if you make with your own ideas. This is just for reference.
Yeah, so this Figma template is for your reference, so you can look it for general ideas, what should be the document structure, etc. You can be as creative as possible. You can make changes on your own discretion. You can do anything. Yeah, the topic
Yeah,
should be COVID, the guide. Yeah.
yeah. You have to include all these things at least, which I have written here.
No, Kushal.
And
We do not need an exact replica.
you can use your own images. Yeah. And also, if you want a more introduction on Figma, you can, Asmita can talk more about Figma and how to use it. Yeah, you can use your own ideas.
Yeah, should I go through the design once? Like it will take 5 minutes.
Yeah, Asmita will go through the design.
Yeah, is my screen visible? Can you all see my screen?
Yes, go on. Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So basically, when we do projects, essay, and like we work on projects, so design के लिए on an industry level भी people use Figma, and you will have to like code using the design which people create on Figma. So it's better कि तुम अभी ही introduce हो जाओ. So like I designed Figma पे, I chose a frame and then I added shapes and color schemes and fonts, etc. So how can you like get information about coding? यहाँ पे, if you click on an element and then you go here on inspect, then you can find the CSS code, you can find the width, the height, the font family, font weight, color code, etc. So you can get information about सारे elements like this, and then you can start coding. And yeah, if there are any questions to पूछ लो. And we have created a link where you can find these images and the text as well. So and here in the end you have to like link it to you can link it to your GitHub profile or something, so you can use the HTML to do that. And you can get a color code of anything by clicking on it. You can know the font, you can know the width from here. We can have a more detailed session about Figma if you all are interested. And yeah. And is there anything else, or we can start the session?
Yeah.
No, you don't need Figma for building the web page. Figma is for the design aspect.
Yeah. If there are any more queries, you can discuss them on our Discord server in the HTML CSS channel we have created for this. And we will also be sharing more resources and you can ask for more help. And it was nice interacting with you all. Like it has been a 2-hour session.
If people are still here, I want to show one website.
Yeah, please.
So this is a CSS Zen Garden. So this is the name of the website, and this very aptly demonstrates the power of the how powerful CSS can be. So why we write CSS separately from HTML is that you can have the content same and you can change the design as per your requirements. So this website is has very simple CSS file here, and it allows you to change the CSS style to various different CSS contributed by people. You can see it in the left side. So let's just change it to something like let's select this one. If I click this, it will now load this CSS file into the same exact HTML page. So let's just wait for the So you see, this is just completely changed the design of the web page. But you see, the contents are exactly the same. The CSS Zen Garden, the beauty of CSS design, selector design is on the here, and there are archives, resources. The content is exactly the same, but the look of the website has completely changed just by changing the CSS. So this is just changing the CSS file. So if you want to see another one, so let's just see this one. So you see the CSS Zen Garden, the beauty of CSS design. So the content of the website is same, but this is what the different CSS makes to a website. So you can keep exploring everything in web dev. Practice will make you more perfect more better in this. There is no perfect. There is always scope for improvement. अगर किसी को कुछ भी पूछना है तो you can like ask कोई भी questions. Okay, so fork and clone में ये difference है कि if you अगर मैं fork कर रहा हूँ किसी भी repository को तो किसी भी project को, so मैं जैसे मैंने आदित्य की GitHub पे वो hosted थी और मैंने उसे fork किया, तो इसका मतलब ये हुआ कि मैंने उसकी एक copy अपने GitHub account पे बनाई है. And अगर if I clone that, so वो सारे files की एक copy मेरे local computer पे download हो जाएगी. तो यही basic difference है. So अगर मैं clone कर रहा हूँ, so उसका मतलब वो मैं उसे basically download कर रहा हूँ अपने computer पे. But fork is मैं उसकी उस प्रोजेक्ट की एक कॉपी अपने गिटहब पे बना रहा हूँ. सो मेरे गिटहब पे भी एक और प्रोजेक्ट क्रिएट हो गई है विद द सेम नेम एंड इट इज लिंक्ड टू आदित्या's प्रोजेक्ट.
Okay, now Pratham can stop the recording.
Yeah.